Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
And we have a special guest on the line, hopefully, if this works out. Mr. Guma Aguiar, a little background on Mr. Aguiar. Is born in Brazil, raised in America, grew up as an evangelical Christian, converted back to Judaism, made some money in energy, and tried to buy Beitar Jerusalem, ended up sponsoring the football team last year. Exciting, controversial character, and is delighted for having to join us here now, Mr. Aguiar.
Hey, Jeremy, how are you?
Wonderful to hear from you. What's going on?
It's exciting to see you're starting a new radio show. That's great. I'm happy for you.
Thanks a lot, man. So tell me, I understand you were in Israel last week, and there was press coverage. The people love you here.
Yeah, I mean, I think they, I love the nation of Israel and the Jewish people, and in particular, and I really enjoyed being in Jerusalem, and people feel that, and it's nice because they're warm back, so it's really nice.
And what's the story with Beitar? There were rumors, it was talked about that you might come here and buy the team from Arkady Gaidamak. What happened?
Right. Well, it's kind of a complicated issue. I'm not going to buy the team from Arkady Gaidamak. If anything, he should be paying me to take it at this point. There's a loan which I gave the club last year.
Loan?
Which the club had.
It was a loan?
Yeah, it was a loan.
Okay,
it was structured as a loan.
I see.
So it was structured as a loan. So basically, the team has that $4.5 million or whatever the exact number is. They have that on their books as a loan, and nobody seems to be talking about that at all. Like even you were surprised there for some reason, but I don't know why anybody's
you were
surprised.
A sponsor, and that the idea seemed to be that you were giving the money, not that you were giving it in the understanding that you'd get.
Well, there was nothing. There was nothing to get back at the time. That's the thing. People don't understand that the club was not getting any funds at all from Gaidamak. It's not. I don't have a loan. The club does not have any obligation to pay me back anytime soon. It's just it's a permanent loan that if or whenever the club changes hands, at some point down the road, the actual ownership, it's going to have to go through me.
Did you speak to Gaidamak? The sports websites were all full of rumours that you were going to be meeting Gaidamak in Jerusalem, that you'd already spoken to him, or you were going to speak to him, and that you were going to try and work it out, that you were going to be in control and he was going to relinquish control.
Right. But that was a what I was hoping to accomplish. Unfortunately, wasn't able to meet with him. I met with him through his lawyers, and he's got some pretty complex issues that he's dealing with right now personally.
What do you mean?
I think that. Pardon me?
What do you mean complex issues he's dealing with personally? I'm not laughing here. My co-host, Mr. Sturm. Do you remember Uriel? He runs the football league. Is my co-host here.
How you doing, Guma Uriel Sturm?
Okay, good, Uriel. Nice to speak to you.
So what do you mean he had personal issues to deal with? What's the situation with Gaidamak? Do you have any idea with him? I personally cannot understand what's going on with this guy, that he can be the owner of a football team, one of the major football teams in this country, and suddenly just disappear, never told anyone he was leaving, and he just disappeared, went to Russia, and never really spoke to anyone again. It boggles the mind. What's he doing? Hello?
I think there's no way to really read into it, and he has a lot of people around him, advisors and lawyers and things like that, who are advising him in different ways. And maybe everybody has good intentions, maybe some people don't, but it ends up becoming so complex when, he's got issues with Bank Hapolim and different things in Israel, and, and then there's different things abroad. And, I really don't think that Beitar is something that Guydeman wants to be involved in. He told me that himself. So, unless he's changed his mind and, wants to be involved with it, last time I heard from him, what he told me is that he did not want to be involved.
Guma, Uriel again. The long and short of it is that it seems that initially Guydeman bought the club because he had political ambitions and to try to use the club and his ownership of a prominent Jerusalem soccer club as a sort of platform by which to promote his political agenda. When you joined the club, it seemed to be a different type of vibe. It seemed to be a vibe of a true person who was trying to help a sports club, a true person who had a love of sports that was just trying to help out Israel in a way that he was very really able to help it out. Does that sort of depict your interest in helping out Beitar Jerusalem and also Hapoel Jerusalem, the basketball club, as you did? Or did you have a different agenda, or was it simply a love of Israel and a love of sports and trying to combine them with the way you knew how?
It's a big question, and, I think that a lot of people don't quite understand this, but I gave tens of millions of dollars away to different philanthropic organizations in Israel and or organizations that were affiliated with Israel in some way. Nobody would look at my giving in the past and say that I was anti-Semitic, for sure. If anything, they'd say that he's a raging Zionist. So I think that. Leading up to the acquisition or the investment in Beitar, I was just coming off of a really big donation to the March of the Living, and we were in Poland and Auschwitz, and I'd done so many different things in so many organizations, and $2 million to Nefesh. Which helps a lot of, which helps Jews be able to settle and find a home in Israel. And ultimately, I don't want to say that I didn't get back anything in return, but it wasn't. All of those things weren't something that I was passionate about to the point where, they were good causes, they were very important causes. They were things that I support and I think that are important for the community. But the investments in the sports clubs were, number one, they weren't donations. Because they're not, just by definition, they weren't donations.
So what were they by definition?
Well, a donation is money that you give to a 501c3 organization, and you get a deduction on your taxes. The investment that I made in Hapoel was simply for the same reason that I did. We found Hapoel Yerushalayim in a very similar situation to where Beitar was going to be. At the end of in the beginning of the 2010 season, and I had done a lot of different things and a lot of different places, and after sitting down with Nir Barkat and some other people, I decided to get involved with Beitar. Then after that it was Hapoel Yerushalayim also.
So now,
which I think
now it's not. You haven't been able to really take control of Beitar, and you've gone back to America. What's going on? What's your next step? Are you going to try and get involved? Are you giving up? Because as far as I understand, you don't seem like the sort of guy who's going to give up on something like that.
No, I mean, I think that
and the fans love it.
It's not a matter of giving up. I think that I'm never going to give up on Beitar. I mean, I'll always be a fan. But in terms of being the actual owner of the team, I think there's some different options out there. Maybe there's. I was speaking to different people earlier this year about partnerships and things like that. But in terms of the ownership, it's going to just take some time. I mean,
so you hope that you can still do it, or you're going to come back?
Yeah,
when you're going to come back and give it another go and push it until it works out.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no reason why not. Why not to? But at the same time, the club has funding, which, by the way, is the funding that I gave the club.
And they're still using the money you gave them?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the budget of Beitar over a year?
Okay, that's a good question. It's obviously, it's been lowered a lot in the last few years. It used to be outrageous. But at this point, it all depends on it all depends on the ticket sales. And Beitar's been really low this year so far in terms of, fans turning out for the games. So they're already behind, the budget on several different places. And it's not going to be, whether it's in 3 months from now or 6 months from now, the management is going to have to go somewhere to get funding. I mean, it's just the way it goes.
And you're the one who's there to give them that money when they want it, if they can agree to take you on board as being an important personality and involvement in the club.
Exactly.
And what I also was interested in, obviously there was a lot of controversy before you left Israel. When was it? In March, I think it was. And before that, then you unfortunately had to be hospitalized. And then after that, it seemed that your family weren't necessarily supportive of you being involved in sports in Israel. Is it been difficult? Have they been supporting you coming back and being involved in the scene again, getting a couple of games and so on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're, depending on which family members you're talking about.
I don't know. I mean,
not everybody in my family or friends are necessarily supportive of owning Beitar. Some people would say that it's not the greatest thing in the world. Other people think it is the greatest thing in the world. So my family, I'll just generalize it and say that they're supportive of me being involved as long as I'm happy and I'm healthy.
But they weren't supportive of you being involved in January.
Well, obviously, I wasn't doing well at that time.
And do you feel you're feeling much better? You're feeling healthy now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
And what are you up to in America these days? What are you doing with yourself now?
Oh,
People want to know. I mean,
Guma, the fans love you here. I'm telling you.
Of course, they want to know what you're doing. I mean, when you were here, you were involved. I was talking to someone who said they used to see you going out for a drink every so often. You used to be part of the community here. And what do you get up to? What's your life like on a day-to-day basis? Where are you? In Florida? I'm in Florida.
It's much more of a laid-back environment here. I grew up here, so I grew up here.
What?
So,
Florida? It's much more laid back in Florida than Israel? No way.
So it's a good change up. I mean, it's definitely not something that I hope will, be forever. It's just for a time. And I think that in the meantime, while nothing's really happening, with the team and, whatever's going on, with Gaidamak at this time, I'm not really losing anything by just taking some time and, not.
Are you working? Are you keeping yourself busy? What are you doing?
Are you chilling with LeBron?
With LeBron?
Yeah, are you chilling with LeBron? Which basketball team
there are
you
several.
support?
There are several Heat players that live on my street.
Really?
Yeah. There are several Heat players that live on my street.
You go to the games? You a fan?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll definitely go to games.
Excellent.
So it's there's fishing, there's game, there's sporting events, family event, things to do, and
so
just
when
look
you
forward
planning
to being
coming
able to
back?
come back. Coming back in November.
Excellent. You're going to give me a call this time. We'll have you back on the show. We'll have you in the studio here.
I will. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Guma, always good to chat to you.
Thanks, Guma. Stay well and.
Okay. Good luck. Good luck with the show. I'm honored to be on one of the original episodes.
You are definitely one of the originals. Always welcome.
Guma, you're classic and always welcome.
Thanks, man.
See you when you're back.
Be well, guys. Okay.
Bye.